welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes the most unassuming topics hold the biggest surprises. Today, we're digging into something that sounds niche, but is actually pretty transformative, especially if you're into plants. It's this material called Hinaigreen.
Right. And what's really cool about this deep dive is where we're getting our info. It's straight from the practical, hands-on experience of Akira Sekiguchi. He owns Saboten LABO. It's a specialist plant shop in Tokyo, and he's been using this Hinaigreen stuff for years, really living with it.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to unpack how this Hinaigreen stuff works, how it tackles those, common plant problems people run into, and also how it unlocks some really creative ideas. It's kind of a masterclass in plant care hidden in this one material. All right, let's start with succulents and cacti. I mean, they have this definite appeal, don't they? People love them. They often come from these incredibly tough environments like Mexico, Madagascar, really harsh places. And they're famous for needing hardly any water.
Exactly. That's the image, the tough survivor. But that toughness often hides their biggest vulnerability, especially for folks new to growing them. And that is, counterintuitively, overwatering.
Right. Too much water.
Yeah. Their biggest enemy isn't usually drought. It's too much kindness with the watering can. Their roots just can't handle sitting in damp conditions for long. They basically suffocate, get vulnerable to fungal diseases, rots, where a lot of enthusiasts just, hit a wall.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. Which, brings us to Akira Sekiguchi and his shop, Saboten LABO. It's on the first floor of the Stamp Museum in Mihiro, Tokyo, which sounds kind of cool in itself. And from what our sources say, he's really passionate about sharing the joy of succulents, not just selling them. He runs classes, seminars.
And the key thing is his deep practical experience has led him straight to Hinaigreen. He relies on it consistently, uses it for all his plants in the shop, and it's apparently a core part of every class he teaches. That really says something about how much he trusts it.
Okay, so if overwatering is the absolute nightmare for these plants, what is it about Hinaigreen that makes it such a game changer for Sekiguchi?
It really boils down to one main thing initially: exceptional drainage. That's number one. Cacti, succulents, they evolve for dry conditions. Too much moisture around the roots is like the kiss of death. Hinaigreen just lets that excess water drain away, keeps the roots aerated.
Right, okay, drainage makes sense. But then things get really interesting, don't they? Because this drainage thing actually opens up, creative possibilities. Like you can suddenly plant in containers that you'd normally never use because they don't have drainage holes. The source mentioned things like empty jam jars, even fancy wine bottles. He apparently showed off one he got on a trip to Georgia, or these custom wreath frames.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the Hinaigreen manages the moisture within the containers so well, the lack of a hole isn't the disaster it usually is. And get this for versatility. Sekiguchi successfully grows an African forest cactus. It's called Ripsalis in just a cocktail glass, with only Hinaigreen and water.
Wait, just the material and water, no soil?
Basically, yeah. It's pretty much a hydroponic setup, growing without soil, just using a medium for support. It just shows how adaptable this Hinaigreen stuff is. It works, even in that kind of extreme scenario.
That is wild. Okay, and then there's this other ingenious thing Sekiguchi noticed, the color change.
Ah, yes. That's a really neat feature. Hinaigreen is derived from something called Tawada stone. It's a unique volcanic rock, highly porous, and it physically changes color depending on moisture. It looks distinctly blue when it's wet.
And when it dries out,
it turns completely white, like bone white.
So it's like a visual cue, a built-in water gauge.
Precisely. It's a brilliantly simple, really intuitive guide. It tells you exactly when the plant might need water, but maybe more importantly, when it definitely doesn't, which, as we said, is the most common mistake people make with succulents: overloving them with water.
Okay, preventing root rot, enabling cool containers, even telling you when to water. That's already huge. But apparently Hinaigreen does more. Something about root health. Was this Nobari thing the source mentions? It's spelled Nebari.
Right, Nobari. You hit on another critical benefit. Nobari basically refers to the quality and strength of root growth, like how well the roots spread and establish themselves. Think about leaf propagation. It's a common way to grow new succulents. You just snap off a leaf, let it dry a bit, put it on some soil, and wait for roots.
Yeah, I've tried that. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so much.
Well, for those tiny little baby plants, getting strong roots established quickly, that nabari is absolutely crucial for their survival and healthy growth. And Sekiguchi found that Hinaigreen significantly promotes this robust root development. It gives them much better, stronger start in life.
Okay, that makes total sense. Healthy roots are the foundation, right? But, does this just apply to succulents? Because the story about the Jacaranda tree and the source material really jumped out at me. That seemed like a different scale altogether.
Oh yeah, the Jacaranda. That's a fantastic example of its broader potential. Sekiguchi told this story, right? A customer had this huge Jacaranda tree, like 3 meters tall.
3 meters. Indoors.
Apparently so. You know, those beautiful South American trees with the amazing purple flowers, sometimes called Mexican cherry. Their wood is used for furniture, instruments. Anyway, this massive tree was just wilting. Indoors. No obvious reason. So Sekiguchi advised the customer to mix a lot of Hinaigreen into the pot. Something like 8 bags worth.
8 bags for one tree. Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
The tree completely bounced back, became vibrant again, just from adding the Hinaigreen to its existing soil.
That's pretty astonishing.
Yeah.
So it's not just about drainage for desert plants then. What does that tell us?
It really suggests Hinaigreen isn't only managing water, it's fundamentally improving the soil environment itself. It probably creates better conditions for, root respiration, maybe nutrient uptake, things that are vital even for a big established tree like a Jacaranda. It definitely broadens the picture. It's more versatile than just a succulent medium.
You can really sense Sekiguchi's enthusiasm in the source material.
Yeah.
It sounds like he became a real fan of Hinaigreen after seeing results like that.
Oh, absolutely. He's clearly seen it work wonders firsthand. And what's really inspiring is that he's not just stopping there, he's thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Even experimenting with using larger chunks of the raw Tawada stone itself, the rock Hinaigreen comes from. Using those to build these bold kind of sculptural arrangements with succulents, trying to evoke those big natural landscapes, like Mexico or parts of Africa.
That sounds amazing. And he doesn't shy away from unconventional ideas either, does he? Like the source mentions tucking a tiny bit of Hinaigreen into glass accessories to make miniature living jewelry or something. Or even planting succulents in a Christmas sock. With a liner, obviously, but still.
Yeah. The Christmas sock, his core philosophy really seems to be about imagination. The real fun for him is in looking at everyday objects. Could be an eggshell, a seashell you found on vacation, whatever sparks an idea, and just trying it. Combining that creative spark with a material like Hinaigreen that actually works and makes it possible, that's where the magic is.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it feels pretty clear Hinaigreen is, it's more than just fancy gravel, isn't it? Its ability to stop root rot, boost root growth, actually improve the soil, and even act as that clever watering guide. It seems like a catalyst. For healthier plants, sure, but also for just letting your creativity run wild.
I think that's a great way to put it. It really reinforces that basic idea, doesn't it? If you understand what something living truly needs, and then you find the right tools, the right materials to meet those specific needs, you can turn a potentially tricky situation into, a thriving success, whether it's a tiny succulent or a huge tree.
Definitely. So maybe here's a little something for you, the listener, to think about. How many other things in our daily lives, maybe materials we overlook or just discard without a second thought, might hold similar hidden keys to unlocking creativity, or maybe solving a practical problem in an unexpected way? What small detail could you maybe look at differently to bring something new and vibrant into being